Welcome to another episode of Healing Through Love. Each week, we share ideas, experiences, and resources to increase the awareness of domestic and family violence and to empower survivors to grow and thrive. We talk with experts who share their advice, or with people who have experienced abuse, no matter where they are on their journey. This is all about healing through love. And now, here are your hosts, Sharlene Lynch and Rose Davidson.
The Healing Through Love podcast with Sharlene Lynch and Rose Davidson. Through embracing multidimensional healing, Drasmin shares with us her incredible journey of personal healing and transformation in episode 67.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Sharlene, for having me here today. Such a blessing and an honor to come and share my light, my story, my voice. So the journey to, all of these wonderful, magical things I am able to offer today in service really comes from a background of both my own personal healing journey as a survivor of all kinds of horrific abuse. I am a survivor of physical, verbal, mental, emotional, and sexual abuse, as well as a survivor of cultistic sex crimes against children. So I have spent almost 2 decades, more than half of my life, really doing the soul work on myself. And so my own personal journey, in combination with my my academic years of being in pre-med school with a major in psychology that was then divinely rerouted into spiritual study, is now an infusion of both Eastern and Western healing modalities.
The Healing Through Love podcast with Sharlene Lynch and Rose Davidson.
Welcome to Healing Through Love podcast. I'm your host, Sharlene Lynch from sharlenelynch.com. Healing Through Love is here today to help victims and survivors of family and domestic violence find their way back to a fulfilling and meaningful life. We interview survivors who tell their personal stories and offer advice to help you no matter where you are on your healing journey. As well as the Healing Through Love podcast, we hold annual Pamper Days here in Adelaide, South Australia, for survivors of domestic and family violence, where local businesses come together to pay it forward by providing services and resources to give a much-needed day of indulgence. Think day spa on steroids. And we're so excited that Healing Through Love has now gone global, and we have connected with communities all around the world who are looking to pay it forward. And I'm sure that we've got an event coming up near you. So reach out to Healing Through Love if you want to be a participant and attend, or if you've got an exhibition, if you've got a healing service that can pay it forward and make a difference, or perhaps maybe your skill set is being an organizer. Reach out to Healing Through Love. We'd love to connect you with a team that's in your local city and local town to help pay it forward and make a difference for our survivors. Every week we interview amazing guests, and this week is no different. We have Drasmin with us today. She's an artist, a writer, a prayer form dancer. We need to dive in and find out what that's about. A tarot reader, a soul purpose activator, a trauma-informed empowerment coach, a multi-dimensional sound healer, a shamanic guide, and a highly sensitive priestess. Absolutely fascinating. Tell me, Drasmina, how did you get here?
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Sharlene, for having me here today. Such a blessing and an honor to come and share my light, my story, my voice. So the journey to, all of these wonderful, magical things I am able to offer today in service really comes from a background of both my own personal healing journey as a survivor of all kinds of horrific abuse. I am a survivor of physical, verbal, mental, emotional, and sexual abuse, as well as a survivor of cultistic sex crimes against children. So I have spent almost 2 decades, more than half of my life, really doing the soul work on myself. And so my own personal journey, in combination with my study, my academic years of being in pre-med school with a major in psychology that was then divinely rerouted into spiritual study, is now an infusion of both Eastern and Western healing modalities with an emphasis on the personal use of language in everyday life and how our words and our choices affect the nervous system in our body, so that we can really work at the trauma at the root level, at the origin point, so to speak, and come back out of the darkness, back into the light, reclaiming our innocence, reclaiming our personal power, learning how to have healthy boundaries, and learning how to tap into our soul gifts.
Wow, that's very powerful. To transition from where you are to where you are now, to make a difference and an impact for other people, to hold that frequency, that space for them to heal. I'm fascinating. Is there a trigger point for you for moving into this transition?
There were several trigger points. I will it's hard to summarize, my entire life in just a short bit of time. My first big catalyst turning point happened at the age of 24, over a decade ago, where I was given this diagnosis, shall we say, that informed me I wouldn't be able to become a neurosurgeon. That's what I really wanted to do. I wanted to work on people's brains. Everything about neuroscience fascinated me. And this diagnosis basically said, where your body's at, you're not going to be able to hold a scalpel by the time you're 30. And I've always had this attitude of, I do not accept this nonsense. And so that catalyzed me into this deep nutritional journey for 2 years, where I knew intuitively and from my own study that a healthy body is a happy life. And so I focused on the physical body for a little over 2 years, until I hit a bit of a plateau and realized there was more. I was seeing psychologists and counselors at this time, but everything kind of hit a plateau. And then I discovered meditation. And I started infusing and incorporating that into my life. And I never had any intention of being an educator or a coach. My vision was very tunnel-minded for a while of, medicine, that is the only path. But the more I dove into meditation and went deeper into myself, and eventually hit a point where I was able to cold turkey quit my addiction to booze, pharmaceuticals, cheap thrills, adrenaline rushes. I was able to tap into my peace, my inner peace, without use of any substances. I realized that I had just tapped into the beginning. And that really took me down the rabbit hole into a second triggering awakening, where I met this shaman woman at a psychedelics conference. Coming from a medical background, coming from an Eastern background, my lineage is Indian. I'm an Indian woman by blood and Hispanic. So it is a culture where psychedelics are very taboo. Talking about trauma is very taboo. As a woman, expressing any kind of emotions or needs or boundaries is also taboo, So I've been working on really breaking not just societal constructs, but also multi-generational ideologies around what it means to be not just a woman, but an empowered, thriving woman. And, this journey was more of, I need to get myself okay. If I'm going to be a healer of any kind, I need to not be a sick doctor. I need to be a healthy doctor. How can my patients take me seriously? But the more I dove into meditation, and I went to that psychedelics conference with so much fear, and I met all of these amazing people around the world. And that's where I met this woman who would become my shaman medicine woman teacher for over 2 years. I then, with trust and faith, leaned into very conscious, scientific method use of psychedelics, shall we say, where I was still applying the scientific method of measuring doses and taking notes before and after, and eventually it just cracked my heart wide open. And I was able to tap into my own power. I was able to really start realizing that I had this gift to rewire the nervous system. So in a way, I became a healer, a doctor of the energy system, of the nervous system. Even though my childhood focus was the physical surgery, now I'm able to do energetic surgery, shall we say, where I'm able to hear the subtle nuances in somebody's voice or in their mannerisms that reveal the deeper trigger points that the body might not yet be ready to express because it's still locked in trauma memory. And it's just kind of evolved into now I'm just through my own embodiment of my own healing and my own rise. And, you know, a lot of my work, actually, most of my work has been without any support of my family. They're still very much choosing to remain in denial of what happened to me as a child, because, you know, to face the truth means to acknowledge that something horrific happened when, you know, they could have potentially done something to stop it. So, you know, it's really ultimately been my own will to not accept a life of mediocrity, to not be a victim, to not allow this kind of nonsense to go unspoken. And now I choose to share my story, because in the sharing of story, we realize that we are not alone. We're all going through something, and connecting with the women of the East who, you know, I still know many of them are still forced into marriages they don't want. They're still going through horrific kinds of abuse, even in their marriages, you know, under the name of, oh, you're the property of, you know, this family. It boils my blood. And so it continues triggering me in a way to keep shining, to keep rising, to keep growing, to keep putting myself out there. You know, come at me, I will hold a space for you, I'll take the hits for you, but behind me there's all kinds of love and support.
I love it. So there's a lot to unpack in what you just said. But I'd like to acknowledge, for many of our listeners, you really have a deep understanding and appreciation of what she's talking about in and around the tribe, because, you know, our families, the groups that we're in, they've got their own thing happening. And when we reveal the damage that was done, when we, you know, have to hold them accountable, there's a lot happening for them if they're not in that position to evolve to the next level. And you're going to get lots of low frequency shame, blame, and all of that is just going to come out. So know that, you know, when you need to reach out for a community of people that care, Healing Through Love, and all of our practitioners and everyone that's in this space that's gone through this journey are here to support you until your family, your tribe can maybe catch up with where you are in your evolution. So the other thing I really wanted to unpack is, that's a lot of healing in a short space of time. So many of our listeners are perhaps maybe at the beginning of their journey. And can you maybe suggest what is the best place to start? Is there a generic best place to start for everyone, or does it just depend on what it is that you bring to the table?
The best place that I will always recommend starting is validate your own experience. You know, the biggest wound that I have found in my 10 plus years of working with clients is the wound of invalidation. That's the very first place to start. Before anything else, we have to be willing to validate ourselves, even if no one else does, because you ultimately are the one who experienced it. You know, validating self gives a sense of comfort of, okay, I know this happened to me. It's okay if no one else believes me. I believe me. So how can I rise from this? That is the foundational practice, I ought to say. You know, hold a hand on heart. I have this ABC practice I share. One hand on heart, one hand on belly. A, I woke up today. Acknowledge, I woke up today. What a gift. What a gift. B, breath. Inhale, exhale, and then C, hand on heart, hand on belly. I woke up today. I'm in my body. It is safe to be me. And just continue, you know, holding that gentleness of just reconnecting back with the body, reconnecting back with the heart before diving into anything. You know, there needs to be just safety of being heard, even by yourself. You know, sometimes when there's so much that has happened, and there's been so much neglect, the biggest desire is to be seen and to be heard. And so then that becomes a projection of codependency, in a sense of, until X, Y, and Z says, I hear you, I see you, I accept you, I understand you, then it's not real. But that perpetuates the wound, that continues to foster resentment, and that continues to push that beautiful, sweet inner child, further back, and makes it more difficult. So however long it takes, ABC, validate yourself just for being. And then once you have that safety within yourself of, okay, I'm in my body, it's safe to be me, everything I'm feeling is safe, then slowly start unpacking in the present moment to build safety, to build consistency before diving deep. I never recommend diving deep. It's just not the smartest way to go about it.
No, it's not. It's not. As a recovered alcoholic, going dry without any assistance, I can tell you, that's when all the demons come out of the wall. So, you need to be in an environment. It's a step-by-step process, and make sure you're getting that support. I love that you talk about validation. I love understanding that level of acceptance. And I'm a huge fan of heart math. I think it's the best thing on the planet. And I really love that, starting the day with that level of energetic connection. Now, you've got a couple of programs coming up. If it's okay, can we dive into having a conversation about those?
Yes, I will. I'm actually, I was intending on talking about two, but I'm only just going to focus on one, and the one that I'm going to focus on is my Heart Trinity Special. And in the Heart Trinity Special, it's a self-paced, self-guided program. So, you can really work on it at your pace, on your rhythms, and you get access to 3 of my masterminds. One is Quantum Leaping Through Fear, how to work with the fear that is in your body, that is projected upon you. I share with you an EFT practice, emotional freedom technique of tapping and affirmations, which is just life-changing. And I also share a pentagram pathway, so a 5-step pathway, a cycle, so to speak, from recognizing fear to harnessing it and using it as fuel to break through the fear and go into the next step, little baby steps. So that's the first course. The second is 5 steps to be at peace here now. And it is just 5 practical, simple steps you can implement right away. And it's really important to cultivate peace with wherever you are now. You don't have to like your life, but being at peace in the now allows and creates that sense of safety, so that then you can really start to unpack, the deeper layers. And then the third mastermind is my EMT course, Emotional Mastery Toolkit. And I take you on a little mini inner guided journey. And I also share 3 potent keys that you can use in daily life on how to recognize and befriend your emotions, because your emotions, energy in motion, are really signaling what's really going on. And they're powerful allies when we learn how to listen to them. But the thing about, beings who have gone through trauma and abuse, the emotionals have been repressed or invalidated. Again, that wound of invalidation comes in. So those are the 3 masterminds that I offer. And I'm also offering a 40-minute live Zoom session with me. And, we can sit, have a conversation, really get to know each other one-on-one. You get to feel my energy, and we can talk about my deeper dive intensives that I have and other programs that I offer.
Oh, I love that. I'm a huge fan of tapping. I don't think there's anything I haven't used it for in the long list of since I've been tapping. So I was blessed enough to start. I reckon I would have been, oh my gosh, I'm 56 years old, and I reckon it would have been in my late teens, early 20s. So it's been around for a little while. And out of all of the modalities, it's so portable, it's so easy to use, and it's very basic. Everyone can use it. And it just allows you to self-heal, really, at your own pace, at your own time. And I find it a very, very powerful tool. I wonder why it's not more mainstream, really, because it is such a powerful tool for people to use. Maybe that's why it's not mainstream. Oh, right. Down that rabbit hole. Stay on track. I love it. Now, you do offer bigger courses, and many of our listeners are on different levels of their ascension their ascension and their development and evolution through the healing process. So can you, if you're okay, just to talk a little bit about some of your bigger programs as well, which might be relevant to some of the people listening?
Yeah, the other big program that I do have to offer is an 8-week immersion into the shadow, the 7 core poisons of the ego, so to speak, and how it shows up in our lives. So lethargy, procrastination, denial, fear, anger, so on and so forth. My biggest shadow was rage. I was a massive rageaholic in my late teens, early 20s, hand to Jesus. And so I guide you with very simple, again, all of my work is broken down into ABC steps, because, that's what we need. We just need simple, practical steps. But I walk you through this shadow program. I'm with you for 8 weeks in this container. We do private sessions. There's like chat support. You get to join a group. You get all kinds of yummy content. And I just become the mom and the dad for you while you learn how to parent yourself, while you learn how to re-love yourself. And a lot of these shadows are directly connected to those wounds of trauma and abuse and invalidation. And they're so deeply rooted. I could go for another couple hours talking about the epigenetics and the neuroscience, but, in brief and to be succinct, our patterns become rooted between the ages of 0 and 7. And so it takes time to peel back the layers, and then give time to rest. Peel back the layers and give time to rest. We're not just working 24/7, 365 days a year. We literally need time to eat, time to play, time to sleep. And so, this 8-week program is very intense, but I'm with you through that container. And I do offer the course as a self-paced guide. If, you're like, I don't need a coach, I can do this on my own, just give me the steps, because I'm also a self-learner. So I do offer it separately. And I also offer the coaching of one-on-one. And then I also offer just small package sessions, 3 6-session packages where we just have informal healing sessions. And I infuse, my shamanic training, my psychology training, the neuro-linguistic processing and EFT tapping, and just, intuitive counseling. Thought interruption is a big thing that I do. I hear you using disempowering words. I'm a little bit like Abraham Hicks, like, all right, stop, rewrite, revise. Let's come back to, truly recognizing that the words that we use are the foundational blocks of our reality. How we speak about ourselves feeds our emotions. What we feed our emotions feeds our energy, and our energy, either carries us forward or keeps us in the hole. And it took me a long time to figure that out. But I know you can do it because I've done it, and I've seen others, have miracles happen in their life. And for me, a miracle is when you finally, like, those glasses, the haze lifts away, and you're like, wow, I am not a victim of what happened to me, or I am not defined by my past. I am actually the choices that I choose in the here, now, and forward. And every breath is an opportunity to begin again.
There is so much to unpack in that response. So, listeners, if you're feeling in a space of a little overwhelmed because of all the things that she said, that's okay. Remember, she's an advanced healer. Yes, and can I ask you just to lean into what results are you getting? So how do you know you need to heal? Well, you know you need to heal because of the results that you're getting. If you're not living the life that you want to live, if you've got reoccurring health issues, if you 1 step forward, 2 steps back, these are all signs that there's deeper work that needs to be done, whether it's physical, whether it's language, whether it's emotional, all of this, all frequency-based work. You know that because of the results that you're getting. So if you're not living the life that you want to live, then you need to do the deeper work to get there. And I love the journey that starts with this level of acceptance, this level of validation, and then gives you an opportunity to grow and expand, to be everything that you can possibly be. I love this. I love everything you're saying. I love the fact that you touched on abundance and also manifestation as well. So there's obviously some discussions in and around that. This is real. It's a reality. It's not woo-woo. It's science. And this is part of the things that she's taking you through and teaching you as well. I love it all. And your work in and around resistance and language and people holding themselves in those frequencies. Beautiful work. So if you're like, I don't know where to start, you're going to start with her very basic course, which is in and around getting that level of validation and acceptance and taking you through those processes. I love it. And that's a really great course because it gets you that opportunity to have that one-on-one time with her and those conversations so that you can feel in to see if you're an energetic match to work together to move forward, because it is all about that. I love it. Wow. Okay. So what's next for you outside of this big course that's now been released? What's the next steps for you?
The next step right now is to take a step back from creating more content and hold the container for, who is meant to receive my work to come, so that I have room. The work that I do, I really take it seriously. I something that I uniquely offer is dream time support and nourishment. We do most of our healing and processing when we're sleeping and when we're resting. And one of my gifts, my personal gift, is being able to connect with you in the dreaming and provide that nourishment. So that's my next step, is just holding the container so that there's room for me to receive you in your allness, and so I can be fully present with whatever it is you need in the moment. And then, also continuing to work on other little things to expand and continue to share my light.
It is so true. I love it. In my journey forward, I've had many therapists, and many of them have been in and around dream. One thing that always stood out for me is that the length of time that you need to be asleep.
Yeah.
As a woman who, for many sections of my life, just didn't sleep or did sleep, but only for very sporadic time, didn't really understand that I needed those good 8 hours of good, healthy, hygienic sleep so that I could process from the day before, so that it could go into a different level of memory, so then I could move forward and build and move forward. I was constantly holding myself into a space of not enough sleep, not enough self-care, and then, the outcome was, alcoholic and the whole long list of things that I brought to the table. So the sleep is so important, and yet we don't have that level of connection if you're not trained to what's really happening. Many people that I have a chat to, they don't even remember what it is that they're dreaming about, or on any level, or even if they dreamed. And of course they did. Of course they dreamed. It's the human condition, dreaming. So it's beautiful to work with someone who can do that deep dive into dream and help you unpack what's happening there for you, because the bottom line is you've got this. You know what you need to do. It's inside of you. You need a good coach or mentor to get it out, to get you to move forward, because we're designed with the answers. We're just blocking them with all the rest of the stuff that's in our way. So I love it. I love what you bring to the table. It's fantastic. And all of the links to working. So on the link tree will be here in the show notes and also the show description. And you'll be able to click on those links, and that will take you to the beautiful offers as well. I wanted to ask you, what's your words of wisdom to share with the audience?
So before I share my words with wisdom, I do want to add one thing. We're talking about what's the outcome. Okay, what are we doing all this work? Well, I'll tell you a little juicy secret. The outcome is a more fulfilling sex life. You're right. You heard me right. A more fulfilling sex life, deeper intimacy, deeper connections, really rooted in, wow, it feels so good to be alive. How does it get any better than this? And that's really the goal, to open up your heart, because when your heart's open, your juices start flowing, if you get my drift. So
we'll keep it PG in case there's children listening today.
Exactly. So I'm striving here, but children know, they see the TV, they see the video games. So I'm just saying, keeping it PG. So words of wisdom, mirroring what Sharlene said, you got this. You really do. And you just sometimes need to be reminded of how amazing you are. You went through it and it's over. It's done. It's done. You're stronger for it. Scar tissue is stronger. And just continue moving forward. Pick yourself up. It's not about how many times you fall. It's about how you rise every time. Success is a whole bunch of failures stacked up on each other. So pick yourself up, do your ABCs, keep validating yourself, and trust your process, trust your journey. It's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to step back and say, I need a break to just, integrate, and I'll continue when, I feel good and strong within me.
I love it. I love everything that you bring to the table. It's fascinating. We could talk for hours, I feel, just quietly. So if you're listening today and this resonates with you, please jump on, follow the links and inquire about the different courses that she's got there and have that beautiful conversation. And if you're listening today and you yourself are a healer or have something beautiful to offer, please reach out to us. As I say, Healing Through Love has now gone global as of May this year. And we are running events in and around your area. So it's just beautiful to be able to pay it forward energetically and just lift the frequency of the planet by holding a safe place for these beautiful ladies to heal so that they then can step into their power and they can then pay it forward. And the ripple effect creates magic on this planet and raises the frequency of the entire planet. We love it. Thank you so much for joining us today. That's a goodbye from me and a goodbye from Drasmina. Bye.
Bye. I love you.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Healing Through Love. You can get further resources, see the show notes, or simply reach out to us via our website at htlaustralia.org. Thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to your company next time on the Healing Through Love podcast.